is there's a bell curve, and like this. It's a bell curve. And we all know about the bell curve. It was in school. We studied it. And on one side is deficiency, the other side is excess, but at the point is that sweet spot. Now that sweet spot is different for each of us. And to tell you the truth, it's really not a lab value. Many of us try to take hormones so our hormones look good on our labs and are the amount that you had when you were 20 years old. Well, that might not be the right amount for you. The right amount for you is the amount that you feel good at, the amount that allows you to feel better and to function at your optimum. And welcome, Carol. Can you hear me? Not yet. Okay. So, to function at your optimum. So, to understand the use of hormones and to understand the use of these base hormones, which are essential, it's
I think
not. Yes, welcome. I can hear you. I could hear you. Okay.
Carol, can you speak? Okay. All right. Look like it's working. All right. Good.
Good.
Yay. So we were talking about
Great.
the sweet spot of hormones,
Okay.
about the bell curve, and what's the right amount. Excuse me. What's the right amount for you? It might not be the right amount for me, and how it's so individual. It's not a lab value. It's a symptom value. And that's really important to understand. It's not the most is better, it's the right amount is better. And a smaller amount might be better for you, and a larger amount might be better for me. Carol, go on. Well, maybe not. You don't hear me? I'm sorry. So, with that in our mind, we always want to start at a low dose and go a little bit higher, because understanding that these hormones are symphonies. How would you like just one instrument to be so high that you can't hear any of the other instruments? Are you there, Carol? That you can't hear any of the other instruments. That would be a heartache and a disappointment. The way that the endocrine system works, all our hormones work, our Pregnenolone, our DHEA, our estrogen, our progesterone, our testosterone, and the many types of estrogen that we have, and the free and total testosterone all work together in harmony. When one dominates the presence of the others, the rest of the body can't really balance it. It puts everything out. And that we'll go into some examples of that shortly. So we want to understand that if we are getting our blood tested, we want the sulfated version of Pregnenolone and DHEA, but we also, the sulfated version of Pregnenolone and DHEA, but we also want to notice ourself. We want to understand what you feel like, what we feel like, what our body feels like, if it's making us feel better or making us feel worse.
I
Okay.
think I'm back. Am I back?
I sure hope so.
I'm going through Wi-Fi hell here. Please excuse me.
Hi, welcome back. You stepped
We're
into
I would like,
purgatory. I wouldn't
yeah,
say heaven, but definitely purgatory.
I would like to say something. DHEAS is measured all the time in the serum, but
Mm-hmm.
pregnenolone is measured as pregnenolone and not the S. Um,
That's a disappointment.
yeah. Um, Dr. James Joseph called me one day, and he said he found this wonderful study with pregnenolone sulfate, the sulfated storage form of pregnenolone. And he said, I want to get a hold of some of this. And if you look for pregnenolone, and you can find it in health food stores, you can find it on the internet, you're not going to find Pregnenolone S. Now, he felt like he would benefit from the pregnenolone sulfate because he personally has a genetic issue with
With
sulfation.
sulfation.
And so we've talked about methylation a lot, but there's genetic sulfation patterns that are problems, and there are glucuronidation and acetylation. There's all kinds of detox pathways. And now we're developing all these genetic panels where you can actually see where you have a problem. And I said to him, well, Dr. Joseph, can't you just use some sulfur groups to help you metabolize? And he goes, no, that's where the problem is.
And there's something else. There's another piece of the problem. If when you're taking them orally, they're broken down very rapidly in the intestines, the stomach and the intestines, and then in the liver. But if you take them topically or sublingually, you have more of an opportunity to sulfate, and then they're longer lasting. So some people could be taking them orally one after another and say, this really doesn't work. And what it is that um, they're not really being taken into the body appropriately, and so they're not able to be utilized. Carol?
Okay, I do track pregnenolone for my clients. And pregnenolone, as you probably have already said and I missed, is the first hormone that comes from cholesterol. And so that particular step needs vitamin A. And I consider this a sign if pregnenolone is low that your thyroid's not working so well either, because you need active thyroid hormone to metabolize beta carotene from all your fruits and vegetables into vitamin A. Or you're
And
stuck.
that step takes riboflavin. Without riboflavin, you can't convert that uh, to vitamin A, from beta carotene to vitamin A. Go on, Carol. I didn't mean to interrupt
So
you.
that's okay. That was a useful tidbit. So you really need you really need good thyroid for this to happen. And so I've seen pregnenolone ranges from about 50 nanograms per deciliter all the way up to 250. And I have seen levels of 10, 15. And I go, holy schmoly,
My goodness.
this is a
You
problem.
mean you don't feel well? What a
Yeah, well,
surprise.
that's why they contacted me in the first place. And so because I ask for it, for that testing, I get an answer. And so this has happened that I want to give those people pregnenolone, men and women both. And the pregnenolone is like, how much should you give and where should you get? And so we were at, Corrine and I go to numerous little medical groups, started up during COVID. We needed contact, and we have speakers, and then we have chit chat, and it's valuable to be talking to other practitioners, and you get these pearls. And so Dr. Bill Clearfield said at one of these chit chat things, he said, I use 400 milligrams of pregnenolone in women who are anxious. So I nearly fell off my chair again, but I thought I really love very generous dosing of progesterone. Often it's needed. So why wouldn't we also be kind of generous with the
With
pregnenolone?
the precursor.
Right, right. And so before I recommended this to anybody else. I got it myself. He uses it 400 milligrams at bedtime, but I like to spread out the hormone dosing. These go into your body and get detoxified pretty quickly. So I go 200
40
and
minutes.
200 and 300. And so I thought, well, I'm taking this Pregnenolone and I don't feel a thing, nothing. And I thought that for about 3 weeks. And then one day I'm talking to somebody and I wanted to tell them about Alexander Rifton's heart rate variability equipment. And it sort of
Oh,
fell out of
that.
it fell out of my mouth. I was always Alexander
Exactly.
Rifkin. I have to picture him in my head. I have to sort around, look at his equipment in my head, and then finally I get his name, and, and it's just like out of my mouth. And I go, wow, this is really important. And Pregnenolone, as a neurosteroid, which I know you talked about, is concentrating in your brain. And this is the part where we can't measure that pregnenolone. It's not in the serum. It's not in the saliva. It's not in the poo. It's just just here. Those high levels of pregnenolone are in your brain. So one of the particular things that pregnenolone is really, really good for is focus
Memory,
and concentration.
focus,
Yes.
concentration.
And,
It
and so
acts. Go on. Or do you
well,
want?
we make fun of this as we age, that we have to
We're
struggle for
losing
words,
words and
and
uh,
you forget
oh,
why
it's a senior
you were brought.
moment.
That's not funny. I will say,
Especially if you're trying to give a lecture.
I will submit that really isn't funny, and or why you walked into the room. You just walked in to get something, and you forget right away what you went in there for. That's the kind of things that come up with low pregnenolone. And
And
so Dr. Clearfield at another time, he said he likes to see it supplemented so you have a level of 90 to about 160.
so you have to,
Really.
you understand that this acts almost like turning a knob in the brain in relationship to our GABA receptors in relation. And GABA is the hormone that allows a neuron that allows us to relax, that allows us to sleep, that allows us to feel calm, even in many ways feel joy. So when it's too high, it becomes sedating. When it's too low, we become very anxious. Here we are anxious and we don't really know why. It's interesting because I have patients that come in and they say, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm anxious all the time and it doesn't suit my life or my energy. And yet I'm anxious all the time. And we start adjusting the hormones, and that can go away in literally days if it's done correctly. But what you're saying, which is very important, that it built up in your brain, just like cholesterol. Cholesterol, when you do a reading of cholesterol, which is so important, it doesn't change in a day. It takes time to build. It takes time to adjust itself. And you know what's happening, Carol? Cholesterol is the allopathic enemy. It's an allopathic enemy, and everything and everybody is doing absolutely everything they can to lower cholesterol.
Oh, and that's a
But
big mistake.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. Thank you
but
very much.
but even so, these people with the low pregnenolone, a couple of them had a good level of cholesterol. But just today, I talked to somebody, and she sent over a number of her tests she had done recently. And she also wrote up a big thing, and she's working with practitioners. They're doing this and this and this. And she had a level total cholesterol 137 out of,
137. If I
yes.
saw that, I'd worry about cancer.
Yeah, and autoimmune diseases of
and
the kazoo,
autoimmune disease.
which he has some, and oh, accident prone, suicidal prone, all of these things. You know what she said to me? She said, "Now, one of my doctors pointed this out." I said, "I think it's your biggest problem." I said, "Wow, what a difference!" And she was, of course, she wasn't on statins, and she's got multiple problems. So it's like we get kind of myopic, and even she was going to functional medicine people, and they were not really attuned to a low cholesterol can be a real problem. And then you don't
And
make pregnenolone very well either, and you don't make estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, nothing else, vitamin D, bile, none of that's
yeah,
getting made very well.
I have a patient I spoke with yesterday. She has a 216 cholesterol. Now her father died of a heart attack. It's flagged in bright red on her blood test. And she calls me up because she's terribly worried. And I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. I said, Carol and I were at a seminar with some of the top doctors from all over the world. And they said that the minimum of cholesterol is 220 to 270. That's where they want, that's the sweet spot. So I said, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Let's work on other factors. And it's like a weight came off of her. But it's interesting because I had a child who was quite toxic, born drug addicted. And how do you get a baby to detox? How do you clean them out? How do you help their brain? How do you protect their neurons? And so when they got old enough, which is about a year, I had them take eggs every single day.
Hmm.
Now they're older. They had eggs every day of their life almost. There might be a couple days that they missed, from 1 to 3 a day. And they are the brightest kid you'll ever want to meet. And it's really exciting. And that is giving the substrate so that the body can use it the way it needs to. And a couple of times the child went to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician said, well, this child's cholesterol is elevated. And my comment was, good. He worked. He works very hard, exercises very hard. He deserves the extra cholesterol.
So
So,
did you talk about the oh, did you put out the number for people to call us?
no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I was so worried about you. The
Oh, that's
number
okay.
is two. The number is 212-209-2877. 212-209-2877. And we would love if you could just, if you're on YouTube, type us a question, because this is an important subject. Also, I want to tell you something really. We're on fire right now. Carol and I are on fire. We started a group on Facebook.
Facebook. Yep.
You can join, you can participate, or you can just sit there and watch. And it's progesterone for men. And it's going to talk about all the hormones. It's going to follow the cascade of hormones down the line. But it's also going to be on foods and nutrients that are good for building muscle, for sarcopenia, which is the muscle loss as we age. It's going to be good for vitality and energy. It's going to be a very complete page. We just started it a week ago. We're just blown away by the positive response. And this is not a financial, we're not making money from this. We're just enjoying the process of being able to share. And it's called Progesterone for Men Facebook. And it's Carol and my Facebook page group that we would love you to join. And the number, I'll repeat it again, 212 209-2877. Don't wait till it's too late and then we have to rush through our answers. But what
Okay,
happens?
did you talk about Pregnenolone steel yet?
Oh, no, no, no. Go right ahead because
Okay,
that is really important.
it really is.
Thank you,
So
Carol.
what happens, and there's kind of a cascade that goes down this way from cholesterol to pregnenolone to progesterone and then cortisol, and
Cortisol.
all
Just
cortisol metabolites. And when you are like, uh, I, I think wired and tired is the best description, is that you have a lot of adrenaline, but not enough cortisol to balance it. And you actually get way low, and it feels like you can hardly get up in the morning, you can hardly do anything, and you have muscle aches and pains, and you have very low cortisol. So when I
does
see that,
that mean that our adrenals are weak?
well, some people would say that's not adrenal fatigue because nothing's wrong with
Exactly.
adrenaline. Adrenaline's still pumping out, but the adrenal cortex is compromised. Maybe we should call this adrenal cortex fatigue. Let's start a new word or a new term. Okay, so this is
On
what
our
I
web.
learned today. So for years,
Oops, here we go. She kicked off again. So for years, we've always thought that it was that the adrenals were not
that will help,
working.
but
I'm sorry.
it's it's three metabolic steps away though. Pregnenolone, on the other hand, is one, and they don't have this on all the charts, the steroidal charts that they've taught everybody from. This direct
Definitely.
thing right to cortisol. And why do they call it pregnenolone steel? Because now you have to be really careful. I love to put pregnenolone in because of that, but you've got to make sure that person has enough progesterone and DHEA. The other two things that come down from pregnenolone, and that's why they call it the pregnenolone steel. Those two hormones are neglected in favor of cortisol when that's really low. And that seems to be pretty good body wisdom, but it does get compromised and you need to watch it and maybe use those hormones too.
But there's also another little piece of it that is that the cortisol is being pumped out appropriately, but the body's not accepting it because the cortisol in a high dose, because you're very stressed, is suppressing the receptors for cortisol in the pregnenolone in the DHEA. So it's acting as a negative feedback, almost like we talk about insulin resistance. It becomes cortisol resistance in the brain. Not that the adrenals are malfunctioning, but that the brain isn't uptaking. But guess what? We got three people. That'll.
College.
Hi, you're live. Your name, please?
James.
Oh,
James,
well,
you're
welcome,
right
James. We'll see you on the Facebook page.
No, I haven't been on it yet.
Well, we'll see you when you get on it.
there.
Okay. Um, you're talking about cholesterol being too low for certain people. Vegans would have a problem with that. Not so much vegetarians if they ate eggs, but what about vegans? How would they raise their cholesterol?
It's a problem. And actually, Corrine was saying this young man or young boy did get elevated cholesterol levels eating eggs, but they've done studies that
Not
eat
serious, just a
uh,
light elevation.
just a lot. Okay, but they have done studies trying to feed people cholesterol 24 eggs a day, lots of meat and fat, which provides cholesterol, and they can't get that cholesterol up. And this is a problem.
You
But
know,
one
oh,
doctor
go
gave
on.
me a clue. Do you want to hear about this?
I'd love to hear.
Here's a clue that nobody hardly knows. He was at one of these medical meetings that we go to, and again in the chit chat, he said, "None of the people here worry about high cholesterol, but low cholesterol is a problem, and it's a problem because it is caused by parasites." And so I think there might be something to it. He says that the parasites use cholesterol as their food, driving down a person's um,
But
level of cholesterol. So when I see this, I check into like parasitic type other symptoms like uh, kind of itching and anal itching and funny rashes and a lot of fatigue and maybe digestive problems. So you get kind of a global sense if there's a parasite involved. And so I would ask them to do a parasite cleanse.
That I would check on that also, but also you have to understand that a complete vegan, just straight vegan diet. I've in one of our courses that Carol and I take, the doctor said vegan diets are planned malnutrition, programmed malnutrition. So we really need, if people are really going to be vegan, they really need to know about nutrition and focus on foods that will allow and take up adequate cholesterol. And I really can't tell you what that is right off the bat, but I know that it exists. But it's being a vegan takes work. You're not getting adequate carnitine, which is essential for the fats to go into the cell to be able to utilize. You're not getting adequate B12, but people know that, so they take it. But it literally is a programmed malnutrition. Okay, thank you,
How do you do
James.
the parasite cleanse?
That's a whole other
That's going to be
story.
another show.
That's another show. Okay, thank you. Hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Thank you for taking my call. I would like
My
to
pleasure. Thanks for calling.
stroke. Hello?
Yes, your name,
Continue to
please.
speak, caller. Continue to speak. They can
Yeah.
hear
When a
you.
person have a stroke, how is the brain affected? I mean, what's affected in the brain that's causing the brain to not function properly? If they say, well, I had a stroke, I can't talk, I can't walk, what's going on with the brain? What is there lacking? Is there any cure for that?
Well, that's very individual. Each stroke is different
Hello?
in different areas and for different reasons. There's not two that are identical. So to just say generalize this, it becomes difficult. But what happens very often, not 100%, what happens there has been blood that's been cut off to the nerve. And in doing that, the nerve has been traumatized. The degree of the trauma is based on the amount of time before the nerve was again reinvigorated with blood and oxygen. So we don't really know to what degree the damage has been done until you start beginning to work with the patient to see their limitations. Lots of this. Go on, Carol.
Okay, if you call emergency services, they're going to give you immediately, even in the ambulance, an enzyme to
Oxygen
try to break up that clot. But
as fast as
secondarily,
possible.
oxygen and hyperbaric oxygen as soon as you can get it after a stroke. So when you have a stroke, you have a little piece of your brain that's damaged. But in the next little bit, that area of damage kind of spreads out. And that's why they say you should get this done as soon as possible. For a stroke, you get hyperbaric oxygen or even some oxygen, as Corrine was saying.
There is a sequelae, so you have the damage immediately, and Carol was very accurate in that it continues even after the circulation has returned. So some of this can be through repetition, through exercise, through lots of work. Sometimes, not 100%, but often enough to be able to say this can be turned around. Sometimes not to 100%, but quite a bit. So thank you for calling. Good luck. Call us back and tell us how you're doing. Do get on the program. I love acupuncture, hyperbaric pressure, all of those can be very beneficial. And the sooner the better, you'll get better results. And nutrients, lots of B vitamins and B3 and NAD.
And
And we have
Pregnenolone.
another caller. And Pregnenolone. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Hi, you're live. Your name, please. Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Hi.
Your name,
my
please.
name is Mary.
Hi,
Hi,
Mary.
Mary.
Jersey. I love you guys. Thank you for your hard work. And Reggie, thank you too. Listen, I have a
You're
three-part
sweet.
question, and I'm going to give it to you, and then I'll hang up. I've been told that there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and that the two can balance each other out so that they're not a threat to you. First of all, I want to know, is that true? The second is, what are the numbers for both, the good and the bad, to keep us in the safe range? And how does that work? How does that work? Thank you.
Do you want to
Okay,
start, Carol?
I just hate this good and bad stuff. It's like, do you think you were created with bad parts all over your body? And we talk about good and bad estrogens. That's another thing, makes me crazy. There's reasons for you to have all those things. And I don't think cholesterol is a problem at all. We're looking under the wrong haystack here. I just heard Dr. Frank Schallenberger, who has quite some renown with an oxidative medicine group he started. He has a newsletter. He's got a busy practice. And I think he was saying the other day on Instagram, he says this, that they had two separate teams who on autopsy, they were looking like, what's in the plaque?
Oh, yes. This was a very important.
And guess what? And it's cholesterol in your bloodstream is esterified cholesterol, he explained. And there's no cholesterol like that in your plaque. So you're not
Zero.
putting zero, zero. But what is in your plaque is like, and it's like a series of scabs. It's if you had a scab on your hand and you kept injuring your hand without the first scab healing, and it kind of stacked up and stacked up and stacked up, that's the more likely scenario that's going on, given there's no cholesterol in the plaque in the first place. So what they call the bad cholesterol is LDL, and what that simply means, it's carrier protein, and it's carrying cholesterol to your cells where you need it. You got to get it in the nucleus and make some hormones. You got to repair the cell walls.
It's
That's
the
the
cell.
bad.
That's LDL makes up the cell walls. That's how the body protects the neurons.
So
They
that's the bad
protect the
one. What's bad?
neuron
Yeah. What's
by utilizing LDL to cover. But I'm not so crazy about triglycerides.
well? That's another story.
But
So
that's another
HDL,
story.
the good cholesterol HDL, that's the carrier protein shuttling cholesterol back to your liver where it's recycled so you can use it again to take it back to your cells to repair and to build hormones. So why is that bad? And why is that good? That's how it is. That's the mechanism of what happens.
You know what? From hormones to cholesterol, what makes things bad is inflammation.
Yeah.
And if we do not deal with inflammation and bring that inflammation down, it's totally, no matter what cholesterol you have or what hormone you have, you're going to have problems. And they're not healthy, but it's all inflammation based. So we have another caller. Hi. Thank you, Mary. Thanks for calling and thanks for your
Thank you,
lovely words. I really hope you're a buddy. Well, you are to us anyway.
Mary.
Let's be to BAI. We'd appreciate it. So, hi, you're live. Your name, please.
Hi, good evening. This is Lorenzo from White Plains. How are you?
Hi, Lorenzo from White Plains. We're great. A beautiful day like this. How could we be anything else?
I agree with that. I'm a BAI buddy member as well, and I appreciate your
Thank
station,
you.
everyone there. You're welcome. And my question revolves around brain fog. back in 2019, I had that first wave terrible bout with COVID, and ever since then, actually, I lasted well, it was a good week of going through that, but it was a very bad spell of that COVID experience. I realized brain fog was really heavily affecting me, and I to this day, I'm really kind of pretty much curious or
Very interesting.
in my mind wondering if there's a way to further delve into that as far as seeing if I could either not so much reverse it, but do something about that brain fog that I'm experiencing a lot.
I think the potential is to reverse it. That's what we would go after. We would go after the reversal. Getting you one fourth of the way, I don't consider a cure, or adequate for you to feel better. But it starts, it chips away. But what we're dealing with, and one piece of what we're dealing with, and Carol will add more, is circulation. That what we have found since people have had COVID and since people have had the vaccines is that their circulation slows, their blood coagulates more easily. And so one very important piece of it is to have adequate circulation, and you do that in multiple ways. You can do that through taking nattokinase. It's been written up now that people post COVID, nattokinase is very important, essential to allow circulation. You also do it with nitric oxide. So you could drink beet juice, or you could take the NO, which increases or dilates the arteries and the veins and allows the circulation to happen more effectively. And what else? Oh, you've got to have B vitamins. And Carol, is
Yes,
there anything to do with hormones here?
yeah. Well, I just wrote a whole blog. There's a blog on my website, including the COVID-induced brain fog. And one the hormone wise, what really gets depleted during COVID is progesterone and cortisol. So you may have residual low levels of that, and things like extra progesterone or pregnenolone can help you. The other
Pregnant.
thing is nicotine. Have you used nicotine yet?
No, I have not. No.
Oh,
That
okay.
could be
Yes,
very beneficial, but you go
that's
low.
yeah, you
You
use
go
low
low,
doses of
very low.
nicotine, even like get a 7 milligram patch and even use half of that. There's a acetylcholine nicotinic receptor that's affected, and by using nicotine, it can turn this around. I just saw that Mel Gibson had exactly this and turned it around with nicotine.
Well, it's really funny because I'll tell you a little history in my practice. Uh, for quite a few years, and a few years ago, everybody that walked in the door had chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue, chronic fatigue, and they were really struggling. And but they were also very nutrient conscious. They ate well, they were nutrient conscious, they were, and then I would talk to them and I would find out that they were smokers. They'd smoke every day. And I said, how, with all of this consciousness that you have, how could you be a smoker? And they said to me, because after I smoke a cigarette, I have a half an hour or 45 minutes of a clear mind.
Wow.
Very interesting. That's the nicotine. So, right now, we're understanding the importance of nicotine. If you're taking nicotine, you also want to be taking B3 and good B vitamins. And, but you also want to really, really look at pregnenolone. It's essential, it's the base. Okay? Good
Okay.
luck.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
it's my pleasure. Call us back and tell us. Okay?
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Have a good evening. Thank you.
You
Thank you.
too. Hi, you're live. Your name, please?
No, there's no more callers.
Oh, okay, well, that's perfect timing then, Carol. So we've
Okay,
got
so
4 minutes.
let's talk some more about pregnenolone.
I love it.
It is.
Uh,
I want to talk about its powerful anti-inflammatory qualities. So pregnenolone, I was talking about that 400 milligram dose, like people are saying, oh, over the counter, I can find 10 milligrams, 30 milligrams,
uh-huh.
50 milligrams, and I'm saying 400. But in the 1940s, 1950s, pregnenolone was an FDA approved prescription drug, and it was called Enolone. And it came in 100 milligram capsules, and the doses recommended was 100 milligrams to 500 milligrams, and even occasionally as high as 800 milligrams.
Whoa,
I know, pretty cool, eh?
serious.
Pretty cool. And the reason we don't have it now is about that time, they invented the synthetic version of cortisol called prednisone. And there was a frenzy using prednisone because people got such huge pain relief and dramatic pain relief, like immediately. And what
They were using
happened,
very, very, very high doses.
very high doses, pregnenolone fell on the wayside, and then they discovered they were killing people with it. And
And then
all
they
they
pulled everything off.
No, they kept prednisone, but what they figured out was when they gave the synthetic steroids, prednisone and later triamcinolone and betamethasone, all these deviations of cortisol, they found when they gave these drugs that it shut down your adrenal gland entirely. So if you were put on prednisone and then pulled off really quickly, you could die because your adrenals would not kick back in.
They
So
would crash.
whenever you use these drugs, doctors are really careful to taper you off slowly so your adrenal glands can start going again. So it was quite the
And it's not a 1 day or 5 day
no,
wean
slow.
off. No, no, no. It's
So
slowly.
that's why pregnenolone is not out there. But I just wanted to emphasize those were the kind of doses that were used for arthritis for its
And at
for
that time, there weren't side effects. The side effects came when prednisone started.
right.
And that's
Right.
when everybody became afraid to use hormones. Carol, what's your website?
My website is thewellnessbydesignproject.com. And what else do we have? We have our
We
Facebook pages. I have the same on Facebook, and we have Progesterone for Men on Facebook. So really
and
jump into it because
take charge of your health radio on Facebook.
it's really been
We're
a
we're, we're catering to the over 40 group.
and we're on YouTube. Our radio show is on YouTube. We're YouTube live right now, and also Wellness by Design is there, as well as you have your own YouTube channel.
I have.
Yeah,
And you can and you can hear this program on WBAI archives or on YouTube or on our Facebook pages, which we post. My website is Corrine Health, Corine Health. And also, I share with Carol the group Progesterone for Men. Progesterone for Men is going to be a very interesting page because we're out there with a sledgehammer breaking up myths, and we're greedily eating sacred cow. So come join us. You can participate or you could just listen, but there's lots of information on both of our websites, and it's all free. So see you next week. Thank you
take
for
charge
sharing
of
this
your health.
time with us. Take
Thank
charge of
you,
your health.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.